we pull off the coolest fuel tank filler on the coolest budget build on YouTube? Stick around and find out what I stuff up this week. Welcome back to Copperhead Kustoms, and today we're continuing with our 1948 $2,000 Hot Wheels Legends Tour budget build. Say that 5 times. And today we're going to continue what we attempted to do in the last video, which was too much, obviously, which was our fuel system. So last week we started on, I believe, one of the coolest fuel filler-uppers for the tank that there is, and that is using a little baby jerry can, which then leads into the tank. Now, we bit off more than we could chew last week, trying to attempt way too much work, and we didn't get it finished. But in this episode, we, fingers crossed, will. So we've made a bracket that has got a little spider web on it that holds the tank. The tank's having a pipe welded out of it, going to an aluminium tank. And in there, we've got all sorts of stuff we've had to think about, bracketry and breathers and all this malarkey. So we're going to get, hopefully, all of that made. We've got a couple of bits of wood to do on the tray. We're also going to paint all of the underneath of the back half of the hot rod with a stone guard body deadening type paint with a Schutz gun or something new I've never used before. We're going to paint all underneath there as well. And while we're under there, we're going to put in the rear shocks, and maybe even we'll get the brake lines in and run the fuel lines and all this good stuff. So stick around and see if I can pull any of that off. Okay, so for people that have joined us for the first time, this is like episode 25 on this. What we're doing today is, last week we made this tiny little jerry can holder. So this here is our jerry can fuel container, whatever you want to call it. And it's a little 5 litre, basically a 1 gallon little steel one. I'd never seen one before. A friend down the road who helps me in the yard sometimes gave it to me because he thought I might like it. And I did. Now I have researched them and I have found some more, but I'd never ever seen one, didn't know they made them. So when I seen it online, I want to use this somewhere in the build. And I just thought I was going to mount it here just there as for looks, you know. Then we've come up with the idea of, I've always had the idea of using them as fuel filler uppers. Now I always had the plan of using the actual opening as a fuel filler, but my brain was saying I had to weld a pipe into that, so I was going to have to cut it all up, weld the pipe, weld it all back together. That's where my head was taking me. But what I've come up with is, I don't really need to do that. Why can't I just use the whole container and just weld a pipe into the bottom of it and actually just fill the jerry can up, and it will go through the pipe into the tank. We've made this bracket. We've got the notch in the bottom down there for the pipe to go in, and that's why this back bit's open so the pipe can slide down. Now we're going to use this tank. This was in one of our spare chassis. as you just seen, we got all the tank cleaned up somewhat. We tried a few different methods on the cleanup, sanding discs and stuff, and I started to do a pattern, as you would have seen, and I just went, it's going to take me all day to do this pattern. No one's ever going to see the tank, so I gave up on it and just sanded it. And then I ended up using a polishing sponge on the grinder, which was probably doing the best result. So we've had it in the car. Where we've got that little notch, we need to cut that out. Basically, the diff center is slightly more to this side than this side. I did want to put it on this side of the car, but to me, it's too close to the tail shaft. So we're going to bring it on this side. We get 2 inches extra room. But I want to stick it right over the top of the chassis, basically, so it will sort of sit in onto the chassis. So we're going in as far this way as we can bring it, okay, to give us room from the tail shaft. Basically, this bracket is somewhere near where the port will go through, but we won't finalise our hole until we've done some more to this. We also, you would have just seen in that last bit of footage, was we made these pieces of wood. Now, I didn't have any of this wood left. I couldn't find any. So I ended up just ran one of these cut down and I'll just put it in vertical. I don't think it's really going to matter. It's just the grains running that way instead of it running this way. I think it's okay. So that just has to be oiled. So we give that a dark walnut oil. Then we varnish it with a satin varnish. Now, I know you're going, what? Are you oiling it and varnishing it? Yep, that's what I've done to this wood. And as you can see, it looks absolutely tremendous. As you can see, we're underneath, and I hate being under here. I so need a hoist. So at any rate, we have made this. This is our end contraption. So it started off as a U-bolt, a U bracket, but it worked out that I don't think we could get the tank in and out properly if it was a U. So we've made it to, this is going to get welded in, up into here, in between this. And then this bracket will bolt to that, and then this bracket will also bolt to this. So the reason being is basically the tank is over the top of the chassis and the pipe's over the top of the chassis, and there's a big handbrake cable and everything here. So basically the tank has to move this way towards me about 4 inches before it can drop too much. And if we've got a bracket hanging down here that's fixed in, there's no way it would happen. Okay, so what I've done is I've made this bracket now can be removed. Okay, with a bit of fandangling, we can actually remove that bracket. So this is our existing tank straps. We've got to unbolt them. There's another one there. We've got to unbolt that. There's a brake line here and a hose we've got to get rid of. This is our handbrake. So yeah, we've got to weld that bar in. And then we want to, while we're under here, we want to take this off. This is the handbrake stuff. We want to take that off, I think. And we'll probably take the brake line off the back of the diff while we're all under here. Because once we've got all this done, we're going to paint it under here, remember, with the body deadening paint. So we want everything ready for that. So yeah, we've got to cut all this crap out. Couldn't really, it was pretty hard to film, we got a little bit, but what we've done is we have used Stone Guard. Stone Guard is the one we used, so we ended up choosing a bit of it. I think we went through like 4 litres, but we have put heaps on, so we've actually gone all the way up. We've still got some more to do up in there, but we're up into the cab area. We've done all the running boards underneath, we've done everything all up in the wheel guards, diff, you name it. We have stone guarded everything. We luckily went crazy. This is going to protect everything and it'll make it look pretty cool under here, doesn't it? Was it needed? Probably not really, but we can do it while we're under here, and look how professional it looks now. So what we're going to do now is we've taken a few measurements. We're just going to mark up in here where the tank filler neck will be lining up with. Oakley dokley, this is where we are at. So our tank is in, just temporarily in. It's not bolted in properly because it's got to come in and out, because we still got to do our bolts here. See, we've got these are Tech screws, so we need to unscrew them, drill them a tiny bit bigger, and throw these bolts here that match, okay? Boom, boom. We've also got to stain, whatever it is, the oil, walnut oil, and varnish that piece of wood, and also drill some holes for that and bolt that in before any of this can happen, because once this is in, we'll never get the drill into that, okay? So we've got to do them. But what we have done is we've got our hose cut, and as you can see, it's cut on a bit of an angle. We've got our pipe cut, so this is how it's going to work. The hose will go in there, and as you can see, the angle's cut, so it sort of sits in there nice and flush. Now we may have to grind this a tiny bit more for the hose clamp that's got to go on there. So I may just have to go a tiny bit bigger, and also put like a little you know, notch out for where the screwdriver is. Now this part will be actually clamped on to this, onto the tank, and then we'll push the hose through, the whole lot through, and slide it onto the tank and inside. But as you can see, it fits on nice. Now this is our bit of pipe that we've cut, and so it's got the little tiny curvature on it. So that goes in on the angle like that. Boom. Try to do it without cutting myself, and it goes in like that. Something along those lines. Then this, so this now, this gets welded on to our jerry can. So what we've done is, there's our egg shape on our jerry can. So we've got to cut that out, and cut and die grinder that out. And then all we've got to work out now is how we're going to run our vent tube that's got to come out of the top of the tank and into this somewhere. So we've still got to work that out. Now I do have a weld-on fitting, and I've got a barb, screw-on barb end for the hose. Okay, we got a fair bit done today. I didn't record a lot because it was a bit painful. Well, you just seen, I don't know how much of it you've seen, but we were TIG welding the jerry can, the filler, and the little fitting I bought for the vent tube hose type dealio. So, as you see, we've done the wood. We've got that piece of wood in, and I think that just finishes it a little bit nicer, yeah? So we got that in and bolted in with nice bolts, all matching now. We took these tech screws that were in here out and changed them to dome heads as well. And we also put a cup 3 in here. That was just, there was one tech there and these two weren't even bolted in. So that got done. Now in here was a flat bar behind that one. Yesterday we welded and joined that in. Like that was just a flat bar sitting there like a sandwich. But we actually welded it onto there and welded it onto the angle under here. So that's all done. You'd know that we painted all of this beautiful stuff, yes. As you can see, the rear bumper has got a nice matty, satiny look now because we actually shot some of that underbody paint on that and that sort of looks pretty cool. What we're also going to do, we'll get to all our cool stuff in a minute, is on the edge of this, and I think on the inside edge, we're going to have to undo this and just knock it a little bit, but I think we'll run some of this little stripping. I reckon that might look pretty nice. I've got like 3 or 4 rolls of it. Where did it come from, guys? It come from China. Same with that. I think that was $12 from China. Might have even been free, that one, because they keep giving me free stuff because I buy so much crap off them. They keep giving me 2 or 3 free things. Then I go through, buy you got to spend 50 or 80 bucks. I end up with about $600 or $800 worth of stuff and I pay like $80 for it. Hey, it's pretty cool. Like, there's this crap everywhere. So yeah, I don't know. I think that one might have been free. I just got it as a spare. But what you got to remember when you get stuff from China is sometimes some of it is absolute crap. You just got to remember that the odd thing's going to be crap. So like, you know, you think you're buying a Coke, a can, and it actually come and it's a little toy one or something, you know. You should have read your descriptions pretty good. Any rate. So here's something else we got from China, was these ones. And I just used one today, but they're to hold our hoses on. That was, again, like next to nothing, you know. And we've been buying all these stainless hardware from there. And we got boxes of it everywhere. We've got boxes and boxes of stuff from China. So at any rate, we've done the same over here. Got the wood on, changed all these bolts, and feast your eyes on it. I know you've been looking at it, and I've been ignoring it, but there it is. And the same, we replaced these ones along here. Replaced all them, but there it is. We've got our hose. This is where we did it. We welded it on there. Nice aeroflow fitting hose. We've got a little hose clamp. And the hose clamp came from China. Stainless hardware on our cool bracket. And I don't know, I think it looks good. And then we patinaed we gave that some patina. I think that turned out pretty good. We put some browns and some greens, and then and a bit of black, two different browns, and then we sanded it and made it look a bit old. Now this was the one thing I really didn't want to have that there, but there's no other good way of doing it. So there it is. Boom. We fill it up, and that's our breather, and there's a spout in the bottom that goes into our other tank. So now what we'll do is, and boom. Hey, that's pretty cool, eh? Now, all stainless hardware, and then on the inside there's 2 here, and we've put the dome heads on them. Everything else is nylocked nuts on everything. On all of this, it's all nylock nuts. And we've just got the little hole going through for the breather hose. Then we'll come underneath. Hopefully our lights are working, yes. And there's our little tank. Hey, hoo-hoo-hoo. Oh yeah, it's looking pretty professional, this car now, guys. So you're going to get a bit ugly as I slinky myself in. And like, we got our stainless hardware up in there, but you can see all of our undercoating, body armour, whatever you want to call it, coating. Now what we do have to do before we forget is, I did tape that up, is we've got to get a couple of plate washers and nuts. We've got them already. We've got the nuts and stuff for that. That's one of our body bolts, so we've got to put that on and do that up, and the same with the front ones. But we've got all the nuts, brand new nuts, and all big washers for it. But anyway, here we are underneath. As you can see, all of our stainless hardware. It's like, how nice is it looking, all with that black paint on. And there's our hoses up in there. So we can get some better light. There's our bracket that we did. Hey, it's all pretty trick, isn't it? And there's all our hoses and breathers and crap. Then we've got the hose then running along there, and we've put it through that and then through the chassis just there, and that's as far as we've gone. So we may put a clamp probably maybe there somewhere. We might put one clamp, and other than that, I think that's how we're going to run it. And then we'll start clamping it along down the chassis there, and I think that's where we're going to run it through that line there, and we'll put the brake through the other one is probably what I am kind of thinking. We might change that, we'll see how we go. But what do you reckon? Yeah, I'm pretty chuffed with the way this is turning out. So we've got a heap more to do though. We're going to put our new shocks in, and we'll start running some lines, and we'll get all these bolts changed. It's a Saturday night and I'm feeling all right. Let's go inside because I've had a gutful. Oakley dokley. So we're having one of them days. We have been here all day and have hardly achieved anything. I went, oh, let's do those 3 body mount nuts before we forget, okay? First job, we'll do that. 3 hours later, I finally find the nuts. Then when I was doing them, I noticed this panel here, we had to take that out to do it up, that it had a little bit of rust in it. I always knew it. So I'm like, oh, we should really do something with that. I didn't want to cut it out and do any of that rubbish. I was just like, we'll put a cover plate over it. Admittedly, the floor was all, we done our crazy little paint with the green splatters on the floor. So I'm like, what am I going to do? So in the end, we did the sign. We put that sign on and folded it around. I tried different number plates and all different things, and I thought that would look the best. Okay, so we put that on. Then I've drilled all the holes. Found some nice bolts for it. Went to put it in. Well, it's actually made with nutsert type things, which has snapped bolts in it. So in the end we had to run techs in and drill new holes because we'd already drilled all this, see? So we've gone through those holes but put them in on a slight angle, whatever. Anyway, we've got that on. And then later on, we'll go in underneath and we'll cut those techs off. Then our cow skull metal plate, which I had sitting up there, I just threw it there and I thought it looked really cool. So that's going to live there now. That's screwed on. So yeah, by the time we'd done that, those 2 jobs, it was like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So we've been having a great day. So we've put this the rubber stripping on. So that's all around on the inside. Makes that inside edge look quite nice. And we've actually run it all the way around the bottom and back up and around the bottom. So we've done that on both, and I think that just another one of these finish off things. Like, I think that actually just makes it look pretty trick. Now underneath, we've got our shocks in, as you can see, and all brand new bolts for the shocks. And we've put that brake line, hopefully you can see it, I'll get some light going for us, but we've put this brake line on, now brand new brake hose, yes? Meant for this car. So we've put it on, it sort of fought me, I had to modify it a bit because it had a pin where you bolt it, and so I had to pull the pin out because there was no room for the pin on our bracket. But anyway, we got it on. We're playing around with the fittings because the old Holdens are Imperial fittings, okay? Now I actually ordered fittings with my new stainless brake lines. We ordered the Imperial fittings this time, and so we got Imperial fittings, and in here we actually have some original Holden ones, okay, spares that I've kept, and here you got the, like a union, I suppose you call that, isn't it? Yeah. So these fit in there perfectly, right? So we've definitely ordered the correct ones. So the rest of these in here, these are the metric ones that they normally send you, okay? But I specifically got Imperial ones. As you can see, we've done our first brake line, folded it, bent it all up, all nice and neat, done a little curvy up there, and all good, yeah? So I've made it up, I've put my Imperial brake fitting on that end, double flared it, and bent it all to shape, and put my Imperial fitting up this end and double flared it, and screwed it on, and it wasn't going in very good. And then it sort of like popped, like cross-threaded. I'm like, what is going on? So we've undone it because I'm like, that's not going to seal. And I actually just grabbed the metric fitting and screwed the metric fitting, and the metric fitting fits onto that fitting that's on the hose. So for some reason, we do not know why, that hose, which is supposedly for this car, has metric fittings for it. So I wonder if the other end up there, that's the other there's a fitting there that I want. That's probably metric too, so we're going to have to check that when we bring our main line down. So anyway, so now this end is an imperial. I think it's a 3/8 or something, and this end is a metric. Yay! Go team! Just to confuse us and make it more difficult later on down the track. Now, we've also got our bit of wiring. Now this here is as you can see, there's a trailer plug on that wire. So this was actually a light bar for a trailer that I cut the wire off because it was all smashed. And I tried to fish it in that hole there, and there's one that's like just where that cross member is, there's a hole. So I tried to fish it down through there, through the chassis, but it kept getting caught about 3/4 of the way, so I cannot get it for the life of me down there. So I was going to just fish it down in through there, and then we wouldn't have to bracket it. But so in this end, now we're just going to go over that. There's a gap up there, a little gap up there, away from the bed, so we're not going to squash it. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to get some clamps, and we'll put some clamps along here. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, we've got some existing holes here, so we might just use them. We'll see how we go. And we'll just basically use some Tech screws with the special little clamps I got, and we'll clamp it along and get it down to there. We've got our fuel line there, and then what we've got is we're going to have our brake line that's going to come from the other side of this one, and then that will run down alongside it as well, clamped. So and then we'll have the fuel line from there on clamped. So we'll have the 3 lines all running along next to each other. That is the plan. And then back here we'll just leave a little bit of slack on our electrical cable to join into this one, and that will go across to the other side, and that will be the back wired. Now we've still got to see the Tech screws there. We've still got to take them out and swap them for bigger ones. Okay, we're going to do a brake line, but we'll just get one fitting on to start with, and because then I'm under the car and stuff, but I'll show you how to do one fitting. So first off, these are our imperial ones. Like I've said, we want to do that first. Now I've got a couple little baby files here, so I just like to clean the end of the pipe up a little bit, just to get the little dag. I don't know if you can see it, there's a little tiny dag in there. So I just like to shove this in. You can use anything really, because I'm not usually using the file. And then I've got like a little, basically like a little nail file, but a metal one. And I just give it a little tiny file up, nothing too crazy. I just like to get that off and spend a little bit of time on that, and it can save you time later on when you don't get failures. So a lot of people reckon you get failures and these aren't really good to use and rah 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 and this and that, but whatever, I've had no issues so far, touch wood. So this is a 3/16 line, so we see the 3/16 size there. So we slide that pipe over there. Now what you've got is you've got your little, this is a double flare we've got to do. So you've got your little flaring tool here, and what you want is to sit that on there, and you want, see the first little shoulder? The first shoulder, I just have a little bit more than that first shoulder sticking out. And we're probably about there. That's not bad. I don't know if you can see that. And do it up. Nice and tight as you can get it. Okay, then you want to put your little flaring, double flaring tool, make sure you've got the correct one to sit it inside. Stick your little flarer U-joint, pull thing in, and stick the little cone-shaped piece inside that little tool. Okay. Then you just want to do it up, and you want to just make sure that the tool, this, is pretty even at the bottom there. And then we just crank it up. And you do it all the way until it bottoms itself right out. Get it as tight as you can, and then undo it. Okay? And you take your little double flaring tool out. Now then you stick your tool back in and do it up again. Again, making sure that this is pretty even, and go again until it bottoms out. Okay, bang, and that's us. Undo that, undo that, and there we have a nice little fitting done. Oakley dokley. So we have had some success finally today. So we'll get under quickly and I'll show you what has happened, what's transpired. So as you can see, we've got our brake line done there. So that was a metric fitting again. So there's something very weird with that brake flexi hose. So yeah, that was a metric fitting, and we've done the little brake line, following it along. And then we've gone through the hole here. Oh, we've got the light going the wrong way. There we go. Through the hole. Then it goes along there. And all the way up to up the top there. And it's not finished up there because we'll work out what's going on. We've got a bit of excess on the line. And we've also run the electrical cable. So that's the electrical one, as you can see, is just cable tied to the bottom of the brake line. And then above the brake line is the fuel line, which is all clamped. So everything's clamped and everything. So yes, only the electrical one is cable tied. The other two have their own clamps. And there's the fuel line. We put a clamp up at there as well. So that's, and then it goes through this. So everything's all secured. And we've got our line there. And then if we can see on the diff, we see the diff line there or not? We've got that brake line there done as well. Hopefully you've seen it. So yeah, they're pretty neat, those two lines on the diff. So there's the electrical cable, and we just got a bit of excess at that corner. So we'll do a set of joins there, and then we'll run another piece along here to this corner. And we'll have to also have one in the middle for our reverse light. But here, and yeah, so that's clamped along there, all neat. And there's our two brake lines. I think they've turned out looking pretty good. Yeah, what do you reckon? And our shocks are in. So at the end of the day, we've gone okay, I think. We look so neat in here. It looks so good. Oakley dokley, so here we are, and we're under the car, and we're pretty much finished product back here. So we've got to just wire in the tail lights and the reversing light, so easy peasy. And what we'll do is we'll run a couple of the cable clamps across the bottom, across there, and I'm not quite sure. I may actually put a plug here. I may actually do it with plugs. I'm not sure if we'll hardwire this back end. I'm still thinking about that. That's why I haven't done it, but that's another kettle of fish. Okay, and then we come out here now, and we have replaced all of these bolts with stainless. Now it probably looked better when they weren't stainless, because they were sort of hidden. Now they sort of stand out, but we do have stainless hardware, like it's all nice now. We've got our row here done, and then we put a row through the middle, and it sucked. It was right in our writing, but whatever. And then we've got our row at the front. Now, this one here we can't get to, and this one, we got one here, and then we have this top panel on both sides. So there's 7 all up that we can get, like a dome headed, bit like a tech screw, but it's not, but with a dome head. It's like a security head, but I'll do some more digging around, see what I can find. Our rear bumper was painted with the underbody paint, all like underneath. Like underneath looks really professional, guys. But yeah, that just looks pretty good, I think, how it's got that sort of like an oven matte sort of finish. I actually like that. We're coming around here. This is looking so nice, guys. It's all looking so nice. We've put the little rubber stripping around our guards. I think that finishes them off really well. And we come forward to this. This thing is mental. Our fuel filler, like that looks mental. The patinaing looks really good. The only thing that will give it away to the trained eye will be the breather going into the neck. People that know what they're looking at will see that and click on that. That's our fuel filler, but the average Joe Blow wouldn't. And other than that, on there, you wouldn't know. But that's turned out a treat. We've got our wood in here, something else, it's the finish off piece here. It's just, oh, guys, seriously, this thing is coming at such a high standard now. Like all that underbody painting, all the stainless hardware in it. I'm actually really, really happy. Like this rubbering, like this is $4 a roll or something, or $5 or something, ridiculously cheap off from China. Like that place, that I get such good discounts because I buy a bit. They keep throwing me all these crazy discounts. Here's a little trick for you, all right? This is what you do: is when you go on there to buy stuff, don't buy it straight away. Just put it in your cart and leave it there for like a week or 2 weeks. And don't pay for it. Don't buy anything, all right? And then they like start throwing everything at you for you to go, and so you'll go and buy that stuff. They'll give you extra discounts and extra discounts and extra discounts. And sometimes I pay like 5% of what the asking price is what I end up paying for some of this stuff. So I'm getting it for next to nothing. I do an order about $80 or $100, and I'm getting like $800 worth of stuff coming in, and it's just ridiculous. Like, the $80 will generally buy one thing that I buy, and bags and bags rock up. So it's pretty cool. So we've given this side a little bit of a wipe so you can sort of see it. Hey, like, this thing's a weapon. Look at the guards. Haven't even wiped, just hit them with the brush. The candy goes guards. Everywhere you look on this thing now, it's ridiculous. We've got our pop-out windscreen. We've got our spider web hood, Perspex hood with our spider. We've got our little hood ornament, and then we got this mental air cleaner. Like, come on, guys. With Duracell battery rocker cover in there. Like, if you're not getting on board with this build, then something's freaking wrong with you, because this thing is mental. And remembering it's $2,000. Now, we've come in here, we've actually mounted our cow skull there. I think that looks pretty trick. And we've put that Jack Daniels sign, and we've actually screwed all of that in and panel beaded all of that latch in. Now, the screws that are in here and here, we'll actually put a little bit of brown paint on them. Same with the ones on the cow skull, put some brown paint. Now that little black rubber, we've ran that along there. Good finish off piece, I think. And we've done the same on that. We've vacuumed all the mud daubers out. We've vacuumed the inside out. We've also ran that sheathing all around this edge here. Hopefully you're seeing it all across the top edge, around where the windscreen wiper motor would go. Now what the plan is with that is we're just going to get an arm, and I'm going to put a handle on it, and I'm going to have a hand operated one. We've ran some also down just there, little piece there. So all of the sharp edges now have a bit of that sheathing on. Another finish off job. Like, hey, how good. Now, I was thinking something the other day. I was just sitting at like a minute ago. We put that key in last week, and I don't think we even need it, because remembering we've got a key on our steering column. So I've got to get something to fill that hole. Now, we didn't put that hole in. It was already there. But yeah, so I think we can take that ignition back out, and we'll just put some sort of an ornament or something there. So there's just a bit more finishing off done in there. Hey, we've now got our fuel system 99.9% done. That there is awesome, that thing. Alright, so we've done a pretty cracking job, so far, I think, on this. The back, like, we've really lifted the bar on this build. We, I don't know what's happened. Basically, the car was at a really good point months and months ago, and this is not where I was sort of planning on taking it. It was, to me, it was kind of done. Like, we just had to basically do the finish offs, and then we just started getting a bit carried away with it, and the more I do, the more I want to do to it. So, and then the more I did, the better I wanted it. So now I'm actually at the point of being full-on pedantic with it, and maybe it's because of the fact that it is a $2,000 build that we're doing. Now, with the budget, I'm pretty sure we're going to make budget real easy. I haven't even looked at it for months, right? So I could have blown it by a ton, all right? But just having a little think about it last night, I honestly think that we're going to pull it off easily, to tell you the truth. But we will run through all of that. We'll do a dedicated video when we finish on the whole budget, on everything that I bought, everything that's free, everything that was sold, the whole thing. We'll go through the numbers, and I'll be very transparent on that. But I honestly believe that we will pull the budget off pretty easy, I think. Well, yeah, we may be close, I don't know. But thinking about it, a lot of this stuff I'm doing, I'm not spending a lot of coin on, guys. So basically, maybe when we started doing the powder coating is sort of when I really wanted to level it up. So I always wanted it good, okay, because we are entering it into competition. But when we started powder coating, I think that's when I really wanted to level it up even more. So, you know, we've done the candy flames, then we've gone and done the bonnet and the spider web stuff, and now we're just coming in doing more and more. You know, the underneath, you know, I was never planning on doing what I would have just painted black. I got 2 or 3 20-litre drums of black, like chassis black. I just would have grabbed that with a brush, and I would have gone under and just painted underneath of that. But no, we've used proper body deadener, and it looks pretty trick. Normally, we just would have left all the tech screws in, you know, on the tray. They're not hurting anything. They're not going to come off. But I had all the stainless hardware kicking around, so we've replaced it all with that. Like, why not? Why not make it even better, you know? So, like running all the lines and stuff we've done, I've clipped them and made them all, and I've actually thought about it when I was doing it. You might not have even noticed, but the way I ran all the lines, the brake lines and that, I actually really thought about it, making them as neat as possible, and instead of just hacking them through, they're all ran really neat, and like exact same distances from the, you know, and all this crap. And then the next one comes in, and it's in the same spot, you know, and so just being a bit pedantic with stuff, and you know, like putting that little piece of wood on, like, but how much better does it look? You know, like remembering a few months ago we didn't have these back bits in, we didn't have the tray extended at the back or the back bumper, and we had that in there done, but we didn't have that little piece in, you know. But how much better does that look now without that little bit of, you know, like, this is what I'm just being pedantic with it, but it's really helping it. And like, how much better does this look with this? Like, we're just taking this build to a whole new level now, you know. And even on the guards here, running this little black edge rubber around. Like, did it really need it? No, it didn't. It was fine without it. But how much better does it look with it? It's just leveling the car up. And for what? Doesn't take a lot of time. It's like $5 worth of product, but the result is just so good. So I'm actually really happy at the moment. Like, I'm actually in a pretty good mood with the build. Like, we're coming right to the end of it, and like, we could push and rush and have it done, you know, but we're just going to continue on our pace, all right? And because when this leaves the shed, like I've said, I want this thing 100% done, and I want it now. I want it up here. I want it so good. Okay, so I want to take this to a car show and have a sign out the front saying what it is. It's a Hot Wheels build, and it was done it's on YouTube, and it was done for under $2,000 as a budget. Okay, that was a challenge, and we pulled it off. And I'm going to put the price of what I pulled it off for, $1,500, say, right? And I want people to look at this car and say, there's no freaking way that he could build that for that. And that's where it's at already, I think. Like, but the more of this stuff I can do that doesn't cost anything, it's just a bit of time, you know, like, and just using a bit of quality workmanship, you know, to like run things neat. You know, we could have just ran the brake line, you know, but no, let's just run them all beautiful, neat, you know, like do some extra little loops and all this sort of malarkey. Like, no one even see it. You can't even fucking see under there, guys. Like, but we know, and then we take it to a mechanic, put it on, and say they put it on the hoist, and the guy goes, "This thing's freaking wicked." Like, that's what I want. I want it to be that this thing is wicked. And the dude built it for $2,000. Are you guys serious? With all that said, I hope you really, really, really appreciate the amount of work that went into doing that, but also the end result of it. I actually think it's mental. It actually looks mental, I believe. And I'm actually really happy with what we achieved in this episode. So I'm going to say thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.
Swagger down the street with your red lips and funky beat. You better hold your head up to the sky. I'm gonna roll with you till the day I die.